Most transformations ship, few stick. Only 12% of transformation programs truly deliver lasting results. And that number hasn't moved much in 20 years. If you're someone who has to deliver change, then this could be, but isn't, cause for despair. It's an invitation to do what most projects miss and bridge the gap between strategy and real lasting behavioural change. So, what does the research from all these clever people tell us? I've returned to this article multiple times in the last month because I'm working on a large change project and I'm trying to unpick how we can beat the odds. If you look at the underlying survey that Bain Capital did with their clients, you'll see that the failure rate in the last decade or so has actually gone down considerably, which feels like really great news until you then look at the success rate and realise it hasn't moved at all. So what do we conclude there? Apparently, we've just got really good at delivering so-so results. What successful transformations do is they treat change as continuous, with ongoing agendas that evolve as issues are resolved. What typical approaches do is they structure transformation as a discrete program with clear beginning, middle, and end, and this sort of outdated unfreeze, change, refreeze model. And it's not surprising that it doesn't really stick because you need longer than that to actually make it work. I've actually got an example like this in my own working life right now, where the business has been working on changes over a multi-year period. So what could we take as an actionable tip out of this? Creating a living transformation backlog. So when one critical thing gets resolved, we move on to the next, or you re-examine the top priorities and figure out what to do. 2, building change into the operating rhythm, not making it a separate program. So what successful transformations do is they integrate transformation into every manager's job and their ongoing operating rhythm. What typical approaches do is that they look at transformation as separate from operations, handled by distinct program management officers. So the tip here is to embed our transformation status into existing structure, governance, and process. Don't create separate reporting, separate meetings and teams. Bake it into the regular business reviews, weekly conversations, and ongoing strategy. 3 is around energy management, not energy drain. So what successful transformations do is that they particularly and explicitly look to manage energy inside the organisation by limiting the disruption to not more than, say, maybe 2 primary things that they're looking at simultaneously. What typical approaches do is they consume more energy than they generate by continuously disrupting the same groups without strategic sequencing. This one I have a little bit more trouble recognizing and relating to in a retail context. I don't think I've ever worked with a single retail business that operates like this. Maybe 2 things per department or functional area, but not 2 things overall. I think the best tip that I can think of here is really having a corporate calendar that fits on one page with key business initiatives and trade periods, as well as things like reporting to market and regular conferences and things that happen inside the business visible to all. It's a bird's eye view of the amount that's already on your plate before you add too many other things. Number 4, aspirations that stretch, not just benchmark. What successful transformations do is they use aspirations to push breakthrough thinking beyond what others have achieved. So instead of comparing to somebody who's already done what, they're figuring out what's really important to them and their customers and working to develop and improve those. What typical approaches do is they set top-down targets based on external benchmarks. I haven't heard the word benchmarks for a very long time, confining possibilities to existing achievements. So what's the actionable tip there? Before setting targets from benchmarks, really look, what do we actually aspire to do? What solves the problem for the customer? And then work backwards to what capabilities do we need? And number 5 was middle out change. If you've watched Silicon Valley, you'll find the middle out joke entertaining. Not top-down mandates. What successful transformations do is they drive change from the middle of organisation outwards. They use leaders who understand operations but can see beyond daily details. What typical approaches often do is they use this top-down approach where senior management set targets and other people figure out the execution. I have an example of this with a project that I'm working on right now. The interesting thing that they've done is they've assembled a team of leaders inside the business who are across different functions and have a clear mandate to implement a series of improvements in the business. So the actionable tip here potentially is to identify your strongest leaders and give them real ownership of their transformation initiatives, not just execution tasks. Item number 6 relates to external capital investment, not just cost cutting. And what successful transformations do is they access external capital from the start to fund significant change. What typical approaches often do is they try to finance transformation through internal cost-cutting measures alone, leading to underfunding and a lot of exhaustion. So the tip here is to calculate the real investment needed for the transformation success up front. Not always easy to do, but underfunding guarantees mediocre results. Transformation success, according to the article, isn't about luck. It's about approach and making change continuous, embedding it in operations, managing the energy of the organisation, strategically stretching with aspirations leading from the middle, and investing seriously. These 6 things separate the top 12% who succeed from the rest who settle for expensive mediocrity. So I'm working on a change project right now, and I'll be applying and experimenting with this advice. I'm going to be keeping a log against each one of these ideas and what we've been able to do and how each experiment turns out. I'm curious, do you see something that's missing from this advice? Do you have something that you've used successfully? Let me know and I'll add it to my list to experiment with. As always, if you'd like tailored support, you can book a call with me directly using the link below. And if you want to go deeper, my book is full of practical advice and help for those leading projects. So grab your copy today. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.